What's up, everybody?
What's going down?
Y'all, welcome to the Tug of More.
Super glad that you're here hanging out with us. We're on episode a whole bunch.
We don't know. I was going to say, you know what number we're on?
We have seen podcasts come and go. Some come, they grow, and then they go. You know what ours is? Steady.
Steady spaghetti.
Do we have millions of views?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And maybe never. But what we're doing is we're having a conversation just between two friends that's defining this tug in us, the tug of more.
Yeah, where we are and knowing that there's more, knowing that God has something else in the future, something bigger, something better, and the fight, the tension to get there.
Yeah, my name's Trustin.
I'm Whitney.
This is Miss Frizzle.
Miss Frizzle? Oh, gosh. It's not a school bus. It's taxi cabs.
If you guys are only, the truth is most of the people that watch the Tug of More listen.
That's true.
We call it watch because we have cameras, but a lot of people listen. So today Whitney is wearing a big sweater with taxi cabs and patches on it that reminds me of the Magic
Frizzle.
School Bus.
Yeah, you're right. But these are taxi cabs and New York coffee cups.
There you go.
So this is my
some slides.
And my what are they called?
Fancy slides. Clogs.
My clog slides.
Hey, but you told me a phrase on Sunday that I'm never going to forget.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what I needed to wear. We were launching a brand new series, and I haven't bought clothes in a long time.
Yeah.
And so, you as a pastor, you stand up in front of a camera every week, and so you're like, what am I going to wear?
Right.
Crap, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
And so Whitney told me what did you say? To dress unpredictable.
Less predictable.
Less predictable. That's what I did today.
No, you did good.
Did you notice
that
this? Oh. I don't think the hat fits. I don't think the hat's the same vibe of the outfit.
Yeah,
but
is.
This feels less predictable.
Less predictable. You were going to wear like a black shirt with like a tannish brown stripes and black pants. And I was like, wear it with blue jeans, medium blue jeans. It'll be less predictable. And he was like, what does that mean?
My mind was blown, but I'm going to work on my predictability.
Yeah, it's just your own style. That's why I'm like, no, the hat works because it's your style. Of our More Church hats, that's your favorite one.
No.
No?
No, the red oval one is my favorite one.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
right.
I was going to wear it, but this is less predictable.
Less predictable. You're right. And that one would not have matched properly. So,
oh, good.
Yeah, so you did the right thing.
Oh,
so I was going to say, I thought it was your favorite and you just went with it.
Do you know why it's my favorite?
Why? Because
it reminds me of the hat that Stallone wore in Over the Top.
Okay.
Here's a clip. Or not clip.
A picture.
That's what it reminds me of. And so that's why it's my favorite.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That makes sense. But being less predictable, it's really just about finding your own style.
This is not what we're talking about, by the way. If you're new, we just kind of ramble.
We never have.
We said it's a conversation between friends before we jump into what we're really talking about.
But I'm saying less predictable in your outfit is really about finding your own style. If you are just predictable, then you're just wearing what everybody else would wear. But you have to find your own style in what's in style, what's in fashion.
It's election day.
Okay, yes, that's a big turn.
Well, no, but it made me think every time I see Trump or JD Vance, they're wearing the same outfit.
Yeah. Suit, tie, suited and booted. Isn't that what you say?
Blue suit, white shirt,
red tie, power tie.
Yeah, easy, boom. You don't have to think about it.
No, you don't.
Maybe we should do that, or nurses.
They have scrubs.
That just wear scrubs.
No,
that would be great.
No, I did it once. I did it when I worked at the dentist's office.
Oh yeah.
And here's the problem: stretchy waists.
What does that mean? You get fat and don't know it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Because you're not buttoning pants every day. You're putting on stretchy clothes. And then by the time you get home, you put on more stretchy clothes because I'm not gonna go now put my jeans on now that I got home from work. So then I'm only wearing jeans like once or twice a week. By the time I got from Sunday to Sunday, sometimes they didn't button anymore.
I bought a new belt. I'm wearing it today. I've worn it. I've had it for a couple months.
Is it leather?
No, it's a tactical, like a clip belt.
Oh.
And it's so rigid that it's uncomfortable.
Oh.
It's the opposite of stretchy pants.
Then why did you do? Is it helpful to you?
If I was carrying a assault rifle down my pant leg.
Why did you decide to buy a tactical belt?
Well, because I needed a new belt. You saw all my belts that I own are ones I got for free on cargo jeans before I had children. And my daughter is 11. So like
you're not kidding.
All of my belts, I'll be wearing a nice suit with like a brown fabric
loop-de-loop belt.
Yeah, and so it's like I have to buy a belt, and so I did what I do, and I watched some YouTube reviews.
Oh,
and
okay.
I bought this belt, and it's so.
Just go to Eddie Bauer.
It's too powerful. It's like no stretch, and so all day I'm like adjusting it and removing it, it's like it doesn't fit my body. It just stays a circle. My body isn't a circle. It's more of like an oval shape, you know? So, yeah.
We're ridiculous. What else? It is election day. We're praying that no matter what happens tonight and tomorrow, that everyone still loves each other.
Yeah, I mean, I got an opinion.
No, we're not going to share opinions, but we're going to talk about loving each other.
We're trying to
love all the people.
Trying to love all the people. If you haven't voted, go vote, unless you're going to vote with the wrong direction, and then don't go vote.
No, but they won't be able to by the time this airs. It'll already be done. So.
Oh yeah.
Too bad. So
Yay,
sad.
America!
You missed it. Okay, what else?
We've got a lot. We've got a lot going on. We had the More Church Gala.
Yep, it was amazing.
Which was a celebration of our volunteers.
Lots of people were like, I don't know about this dressing up thing, but then afterward, because people like to be fashionable and less predictable.
Yeah.
They told me how much they loved it. They thought it was so much fun to get to go and actually dress up. We don't dress up anymore. Since COVID, we're like the most casual world in America.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
We are America.
Yeah. Everybody dressed up, suits and dresses and,
yeah.
and all the things.
It was
and
fun.
So that was super fun. We did that. Then we had our re-engage celebration night just the other night, where we had 21 couples, 21, that went through a 16-week discipleship kind of course on marriage. And we went and heard the testimonies, and guys, it was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable what God's done. And like, it's not just through re-engage, it's through the community of More Church.
Yeah, Michael said it really well, that like it wasn't just the curriculum, but it was the entire community that surrounds the church and the body of Christ, and the conversation from people and the sermons they hear on a Sunday and the pieces they get in life group. And it's like all that came together cohesively. And it was, what's true is we had a really busy week. We also had our fun house for our youth on that Wednesday.
Yeah. Well,
and then Halloween we went.
No, not Halloween. We had trick-or-treating night.
Trick-or-treating night.
The day of Satan.
Yeah. Trick-or-treating night where we get candy for the kids.
Just
and
kidding.
So the truth is, most of the time I would have been like, another event. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But I was so excited to come because I knew my expectation affected my experience. Because the first time I went, I did not have that same expectation. And then I got there and was blown away. Yeah. And then this one, I was so excited to get there. And it met my expectation. It was beautiful.
Yeah, Sunday was long.
It was a long day.
We launched a series.
Oh, yeah.
And then Rachel did a wedding, knocked it out of the park.
Good.
Which, by the way, I'm sitting there watching Rachel do this wedding, and she does it so much better than I do. So good. She did so good. It was so genuine. She's crying. Everybody's crying. And like this couple, if you knew their story, it needed a feminine touch of gentleness and beauty. And that's what she added. Yeah. It doesn't need me up there just getting the thing done.
No.
So good. And then we came back to re-engage night.
And
so
then
it was
I had your kids during the wedding.
Oh, yeah. Whitney and Aaron babysat for us.
And then I took Lily with me to a baby shower. And then Aaron and Titus went and looked for frogs and turtles. And then we came to re-engage. So like we had a long day. A long day. But it was good. It was a great day. We started a new series, which is also awesome. And if you're a part of our church and you're not there, you need to be there every week of it, because it's going to change your life.
Listen, we don't say this every Sunday, but you got to go check this one out.
Yeah.
We'll put it in a corner.
Yep.
Check it. Really. It's worth listening. Devil versus default.
The whole series is just going to be...
Is it really the devil attacking you, or is there just some defaults that you have inside of how you view the world that's causing you a bunch of problems?
Right. And probably it's both. Is what
I
love. Yeah.
Okay.
So today, though, we're going to share and talk about something that we shared with our team. A leadership. We talk sometimes about spiritual stuff. We've done our values of our church. We've done more discipleship-y type things. But today is a more leadership conversation. That you shared with the team that was super helpful. And then it's like, let's keep talking about it. So you tell your story, and then we'll talk about it after that.
All right. So in the early years of More Church, I paid our bills, Rachel and I's bills, by buying and selling cars. I would go and...
Not a dealership.
Not a dealership, just on the side.
Yeah.
It's called curbing a car.
Okay.
Just put it on the curb, sell it.
Huh.
And so I would buy a bunch of cars. I would buy them on, back then, Craigslist, which has now died to Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Or if someone, you see these people, they get that white shoe polish and they write car for sale. Like, whoever buys those, this guy, I would call him. And so anyways, I would buy a bunch of cars, and every once in a while I would buy a car that had body damage. It had been in a wreck. It needed a new bumper. A fender was smashed in. The paint was faded on the hood because it's Texas, whatever. And so I found a body guy, auto body, right? And I would take him to him, and he would repaint them for me or fix it or pull the dent out or whatever. And his name was Javier. And so when I first started going to Javier, no matter what I took him, he'd charge me $300. For you, $300 is what he would tell me. A new door, a roof, a hood, whatever, $300. And man, I made a lot of money because I would get something that was a little beat up, get it nice and spruced up, bang-a-rang, sell it and make some cash. Well, just the other day, I made a flip purchase that I should not have because I've stopped flipping cars.
Yeah.
It's just not something that I want to keep doing. But I saw a
You
deal.
don't have the
I
bandwidth
jumped
for it.
on it. I did not pray about it. I shouldn't have done it. But anyways, I'm in it. I got to get rid of the thing.
God's
and
grace
so
is sufficient.
God's grace is sufficient. He forgave me, right? And so I take it down to Javier and show it to him, and he's hemming and hawing. Now I haven't seen him in a couple years. Now what I do know is that I've sent him all kinds of business
I've taken probably at least three cars of
because
my
Whitney
own.
keeps crashing stuff.
No, but like when I've had dents in my car
Little
or
things.
little things. Oh, remember when I got overspray on my car from the painters?
Let's tell the Easton story.
Oh yeah, my son. Oh yeah, he fixed. Yeah. Oh,
We
I've
were
taken a lot of cars to him actually.
We were at Whitney's mom's wedding,
Yes.
which is just in that sentence.
Yeah.
You can tell the tension in the moment.
on
And
the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It was like a very busy time
And
of year.
so we all drive up to Oklahoma, and it's the end of the wedding, and they tell Easton to go and move their Tahoe in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, Easton at this point is 16.
barely 16.
And so I don't know what happens, but he hooks the bumper on like a parking post and rips the bumper off the car. It's laying in the
Rips it
parking
off.
lot.
Oh my word.
And so
It was like he probably had only, I don't know. I think he had gotten his license that April. Or maybe he didn't have it yet. Maybe he only
I
had his
don't know.
permit. I don't
but
remember
the
how old he
dude
was.
turned pale white. He's
Yes.
already a whitey, but
Yes.
he turned pale white.
And you came in the room and you said, everything's fine.
I pulled Whitney and Aaron into a side room.
You said, everything's fine. Everyone's fine. And I need you to stay calm.
Because
And
Whitney's just done a really good job sitting through a wedding of her mother.
Yeah. So like it could have gone, I
And
could
so-
have let out all my emotions
So
in
I
that
said,
moment.
Easton had a little fender bender in the parking lot, and Whitney started to run
I
out.
did. I
grabbed her
He
arm.
said, "Wait a minute."
I pulled her back in, and I said, here's what happened. Whitney, you're going to stay in here. Me
Yeah.
and Aaron are going to go out there.
Yes.
Because Easton's crying in the parking lot.
I
Okay,
was
anyways.
glad you did it.
So, Javier, I've sent him many a jobs.
Yes.
And you know what's happened over the last 5 years that I haven't really seen Javier? His business has grown
A lot.
a lot. The parking lot's packed. Everybody's at Javier's shop getting their
Yep.
car painted. And so my guy who used to do everything for $300,
In 3 days. $300 in 3 days.
he would do it so fast.
Yeah.
Now I'd taken this car. I needed some paint work done on it. He's walking around. Man, I don't know. I've got a lot. I probably can't get in for another 2 or 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, man, well, I don't have anybody else to take it to. He's my body guy. How much? He says, for this, it's going to be $1,200. I'm like, Javier, $1,200? You used to charge me $300. He says,
Yeah.
it's $1,200. And so I was like, man, forget that, Javier. I can't do $1,200. So I left. And as I was leaving, I was mad at Javier. I was frustrated. And then I realized something. I realized that I was treating Javier how I've had people treat me.
Right.
I realized that I, as the customer, was frustrated at his growth. He has grown. His business is succeeding. He has more cars and trucks. He has more customers. And so he is now able and smart enough to say no to do things at the same level that he used to do them.
Come on.
And now I'm frustrated that he's grown. And it was like God gave me personal revelation for myself. And God said, Trust, and sometimes these people that leave mad are only leaving mad because you've grown.
Right.
You have expanded your capability and you are a better leader than you used to be. And what they wish is that you were the same guy. You know what I wish? I wish Javier was still $300 Javier.
Right.
I wish Javier's business hadn't grown. I'm mad he got the shop next door. I don't want him having 3 or 4 guys working for him. I wish that Javier was working there 75 hours a week, never seen his children, so he could pay my bumper for $300.
Right.
That's what I wish. You know why? Because I'm a selfish customer.
Come on.
And do you know what some people want out of the leaders in their life? They want them to never grow. They want them to never change. They want them to never expand.
It's
But
so
sometimes as a leader, when you expand, when you better yourself, when you take a step up in your leadership, there's certain customers, certain people They're going to only be frustrated because you're in a different place and they want to keep you where they met you.
It's so good. I was trying to find it. I can't find it. But there's something I had saved the other day that, you know, the more we grow, we have to expect that our circle will start to get smaller because not everybody can make that jump with us. And we wish that they could. We used to say a lot that it's a TD Jakes thing that like, we can't be mad when we're as eagles that eagles can't mate with chickens. This was the analogy.
Chickens can't mate with chickens.
Chickens and eagles cannot mate. And we cannot be mad at chickens when they're just chickens and that they don't become eagles because they just can't. And we, so often got hurt, offended, and then took it as though it was an assault on us rather than actually kind of a compliment that we've grown. And then sometimes people just can't take and make the jump with us. And man, it sucks because you want everybody to go with you. You want everyone to grow with you, but not everybody wants to or has the capacity to become an eagle.
Somewhere along the way, Javier, my paint body guy, learned, I'm not charging enough for this, and I'm actually doing really good work.
Right.
And if I keep saying yes to $300 jobs, I'm not going to be able to make actual money and develop my business and pay my bills. And someday I'm going to be 60 and I'm just going to be a broke, dead old body guy who can't do anything. And so he had to start saying no to this so he could say yes to something else.
Well, you said a great line. He learned the value of his work.
Yeah.
He learned his value. He learned that he was no longer a guy who just could do some scratch and dent paint repair.
Yeah.
But that instead now he can literally take a nice car. I know talking to him when he did one of mine, he got like a contract with
a contract with a truck place
company. Yeah. And so like now his quality of the job that he's doing is more valuable than some of these small things. And man, sometimes I think people get frustrated. What you said, when they leave, they get frustrated or whatever because we've grown, but they want us to go back to some of the small things that we used to do and used to be. And we recognize that's not who we are anymore. That's our value has drastically increased. And the quality and the quantity that we're able to give to things is different.
Yeah.
And we have to be okay with it.
I remember there was this guy who was really involved in our church in the early years. As a matter of fact, he was so involved, he was like the male counterpart of Whitney's volunteering.
Yeah.
So Whit was always super in and involved and helping, and this guy was helping me lead a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And when I first started leading him, and he was coming on as a like volunteer support staff, I would go to his house and meet with him because he worked from home. So I would drive to his house to meet with him. And then if he had a meeting somewhere else, I would drive wherever in the Metroplex to meet with him for over his lunch break to kind of plan out what was happening ministry-wise. And then I remember multiple times this guy was not handy.
Yeah.
Handy? He couldn't fix stuff.
Right. Not a handyman.
There'd be multiple times that he would ask, like let's say I would be meeting his house at noon, right? And so we'd meet from noon to 1 over his lunch break. He would ask if I could come at 11 and put up a new ceiling fan for him in his living room while he was finishing his calls for work, and then him and I could meet at noon. And I did that kind of thing for him 3 or 4 times because I'm young. I know how to hang ceiling fans. I don't have a whole bunch of other people that I'm leading, and I'm not paying him.
I was just saying, in your mind at the time, you felt like this is a good trade for...
It was
right for what I'm getting out of him. I love this guy, I care about him, but also I'm willing to help him because he's willing to help me.
And he was super helping me.
Yeah.
And so I would go and put up a ceiling fan or change out a garbage disposal or whatever kind of thing would happen. Well, over time, as the church started to grow and our staff started to shift and I took on new responsibilities, I remember him saying to me when I could no longer go to drive to North Dallas to have a 1 hour lunch meeting with him over his lunch break. I remember him saying, man, it just feels like you've changed. And I'm like, well, I haven't, but I have. And I took it as a slap. And he kind of meant it as a slap. Yeah. Like what happened to the guy that was humble enough to come and hang my ceiling fan? What happened to the guy that loved the ministry so much that he would drive? And I remember really wrestling with that. And the truth is that I had outgrown that maybe season of my life.
Yeah.
And it's hard because like I'm still willing to go and put up a ceiling fan for somebody. I'm not opposed to, it's not that I'm above it.
No.
It's just that like my time, it doesn't make sense for me to keep doing those $300 jobs.
Right.
Because I've got $1,200 jobs and we're not talking about money anymore, but I've got higher levels of stuff that I need to be leading through.
I remember.
And so unfortunately that guy, him and his family left the church.
Yeah.
They left and kind of bent out of shape because I was so different. Well, and we had moved buildings.
Yeah.
And so like, he was like, it feels like we're just it's just not the same. And I'm like, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Right.
And what you said is he said it as a dig, but if you didn't start to understand the value of who you are and then the tasks or the responsibilities you carried, then you would want to shrink back to what he wanted you to rather than moving forward in the ministry and in the calling and in the purpose that you have. You and I have a mentor that's more a leadership mentor than a spiritual mentor, but also he loves Jesus and has spiritual wisdom too. But he said to you and I don't know, it's been probably 2 years ago. And he said, you guys are letting $10,000 things, no, you're letting $10 things hold up $10,000 things. And he was talking to us about our time and our energy that we were investing in certain things.
Our stress.
And he's like, you need to pass these things off. You need to give these away. And for us, he said, in this season, these are the only few things that you need to focus on. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else. And remember, it kind of was like, we were like, yeah, but how can we, what about, and it took us a minute to really actually wrap our mind around it and actually start to do it. But when we did, two things happened. One, we had the capacity and the ability to actually lead what we were supposed to lead at the level we were supposed to lead it. And two, we were able to give leadership to people who needed to also take a step up, also needed a new level of where they were going, that if we'd never been willing to let go of some of those things, those people couldn't have grown and stepped up to the next level they needed to. And I think we have a lot of fear sometimes in letting things go. Your fear easily could have been, well, if I don't keep meeting with this guy, then these ministry jobs will never get done.
Right.
But the truth was, you had so many other people you were leading and so many different ministry that this one person with this one task was no longer wise for you to give a whole afternoon to this. And what really probably should have happened in that season is you passed him off to someone else that you were leading.
Right.
Would he have been able to take that? I don't know if his humility could. But that's what happens sometimes, that we are afraid to let go.
So what we have to do is we have to be willing to do what Javier did. So I take Javier this car. I show him what it is. He sees money in my hand to get it fixed. You know what he had to do? He had to let me leave. He had to stick to his decision, and he had to allow a separation to happen, because there drives away money. There drives away a customer that's been coming to me for 6 years. I just disappointed him and he drove away. But Javier had to do that to me, because the truth is, I don't care about Javier. I care about getting my car fixed at a better price. And as leaders, one of the hardest things to do, especially when you're a people person and when you love people, and as a pastor, you're called to help people, one of the hardest things to do is to let them go, is to let somebody drive away and not
chase after him,
bend over backwards and break what you've already committed. Because Javier could have probably not went to his kid's next soccer game or whatever and painted my car.
Well, let's talk about it. When we go to Cabo, remember the one time we decided to buy Ray-Bans on the beach, right? And they tell us a price that's like $45 or something. We're like, these are not real Ray-Bans. We are not paying $40. And we walk away, and they chase us down. And we walk away, and they chase, and we get them down to like $5 in sunglasses.
You're buying 3 pair for $12.
Yes. And the truth is why? Because those sunglasses had no value.
Right.
And so they were trying to sell us something higher, but eventually knew, I got to give it away for this price. The difference is, we have to know that Javier knows these are not $3 sunglasses.
Right.
This is valuable. And it is so hard to not chase people down You and I, how many times to each other have been like, hey, should I text them and try to really get them back on our team?
I
hey,
still do it. I still do it.
You did it last week about one person.
Yeah,
I was like, don't.
I wrote the text.
Don't send it.
Yeah.
But we want to chase them down, I think, for 2 reasons. One, you're right. We love them, our hearts for them. But we've had to learn we're not their savior. God is. But then 2, but if they go, then who will be here? If they go, then what will we miss out on? If they go, who will come in their place?
But I mean, my hope for Javier has been that he'll always stay the same.
Right.
What I want selfishly as a customer is that this guy never grows, doesn't expand his shop, doesn't get more employees, keeps only charging me a little bit. That's my hope for him.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people want us to stay how they met us.
Yeah.
I remember all my buddies in high school.
Right.
All my buddies I went to high school with, when I told them I was leaving Michigan to move to Texas to go to Bible college, my best friend got irately mad at me. And like him and I ended up getting into actual fist fight.
Really?
Yeah. But I didn't know why.
Right.
But he later explained that he was just mad that I was abandoning him, that I was leaving. He didn't want me to change. He liked me being around and wanted me to be around in his life. And I understand that. But like, for me to better myself, I had to get out of that environment. I had to get out of Flint, Michigan, and I had to go and pursue the thing that God called me to do. But some people just always want you to stay the same.
Yep.
And those people that want you to stay the same, you've got to walk off every once in a while.
Because they like what they get out of you at that level.
It was selfish.
Yeah.
What love does, my mom and dad did not want me to move away from Michigan and leave them. I'm an only child.
Right.
But you know what love says? This is going to be much better for you.
Yeah.
I want you to expand. I want more. It's going to hurt me, but go. That's what love does. And I think that if there's people trying to hold you backwards, from a discipleship standpoint, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Where people are trying to grow in their relationship with God, but they still have those old friends that are pulling them back like, man, you're not any fun anymore, man. You don't ever go out with us. You quit doing this or, blah. Those friends are just trying to keep you where you
work,
where they're comfortable with you.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't want to go where you're going.
I think of Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle, my workout buddy, he's not my workout buddy.
He's Kyle. He's
our young
Kyle.
adults
He's
pastor.
our Kyle. Yeah.
He's our young adults pastor.
But you spend a lot of time with him.
Kyle grew up even into his 20s, like in the bars and kind of womanizing, and he'll tell the story. And all of his friends wanted him to stay the same way. But then he meets Sydney and he gets married and they adopt Asa and now he's running a business. And he's like a mature, got his junk together.
Man.
And those guys still reach out to him. And they're like, man, he just went on like a hunting trip or a dove hunting trip. And they were all saying about how he's changed and what happened to you and you sold out. But meanwhile, all these guys are divorced. All these guys are 75 pounds overweight because they drink too much beer.
Yeah.
None of them are happy in their lives, but they're mad that he's not doing what they're still doing. Sometimes we have to walk away. Sometimes we have to let people walk away so we can actually get into more.
No, it's really good. And there's so many different directions and iterations of it. But I think that Kyle, he had to determine that moving forward was more valuable than staying behind. I think that sometimes it looks terrifying. For Javier, you're probably not, because of the experience and the way that you told the story, you're probably not the first person he's turned away.
Oh, for sure.
But I bet the first time he did it, it was super hard. It was super hard to say, no, I am worth $600 today. Yeah. I'm not going to do it for $300. I can't do it, whatever. And that is like a terrifying thing. But when you're willing to do it, it gets easier. And I think we're having to learn, stick to it. It will get easier. Yeah. You and I have had a couple of experiences recently where we've had to like stick to our guns. We've had to like hold our own and say, nope, this is the standard. This is where we're going. This is what it is. And I think we've been surprised this time about how it was less terrifying than it's been before. That, we're getting good at declaring, I have changed. And I'm so glad I did. Because if I didn't, then I would be stuck. And I don't want to be stuck. And my heart for you is I don't want you to be stuck either. But if you want to stay stuck, that's on you. And it's not on me. And I think that's the part, Even Kyle, talking to Kyle, because his heart for people, he's had to learn it's not on him.
Yeah.
His buddies didn't come along with him.
Yeah.
It's on them.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to just let it break.
Let it break.
Let it.
Golly.
I want to run around and fix everything, but sometimes, you know, if you run around and just keep fixing it, it's just going to keep on breaking.
Right.
And it's like sometimes if it keeps breaking, walk off. Let the thing break. I remember when we planted the church, we were meeting in a wedding venue, Aristide Event Center, and one of the deals we had as we rented that place was if they had couples come in, brides come in, they would needed somebody to do their wedding, and they didn't have anybody, that I would be their pastor on call. I did so many weddings in that season, so absurd. 100 weddings of people I barely knew, like had to write their names down because I was like, I don't even know who these people are, because that was just a part of the deal. You know, that would be silly for me to keep that relationship going.
Right.
It would be silly for me now to keep doing all these weddings at Aristide Event Center. Still, that would be absurd because it would be a waste of my time, and it's not what I'm called to do. But I think that sometimes relationally, that's what we keep on doing.
Yeah, and
we're trying to grow into becoming something more, but we just have these people that keep calling us.
It's such a good analogy because the truth is, when you look at it like that, that would be absurd.
Yeah.
Because we haven't rented from Aristide Event Center in 10 years.
We have our own building. We're not even in Mansfield now.
But when you say it like that, there are so many people who relationally, I haven't gotten anything from this person in 10 years.
Yeah.
But every time they call, I'm back willing to swoop in for them.
I'm just going to Chili's.
And we blame
I'm
it.
just down over at Torchy's
Golly.
grabbing a taco and a beer because who else am I going to hang out with?
Well, and we have to recognize that it's easy to feel guilty, especially in our line of work. That must mean I don't love those people. And that must mean that I'm not fulfilling the Great Commission.
Yeah.
And that's not truth.
Yeah.
Like, we have to give ourselves the grace and understanding that we are called to reach people. We are called to reach as many people as we can. But we can only take certain people so far with us if they're not willing to then take the next step. And what we're doing by continuing to go back is we're missing out on the new people that God is bringing into our life to help lead, to help reach, to help change for more.
A TV show that Rachel and I like to watch sometimes is Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
So he goes in to these restaurants and he meets the kitchen staff and the owners. And you know what happens every single time? There's a cook that's like the dude's brother.
Right.
So there's like the owner, and then he has like his loser brother-in-law that works for him.
He's got like a bad attitude.
The guy's got a bad attitude.
Right.
He can't cook. He's smoking.
Never gets there on time.
And what happens every time is the owner has a one-on-one meeting with Gordon Ramsay. And Gordon Ramsay asks him this question. He says, "Are you running a charity here? Or are you running a business? You're running a restaurant. You have to go in there and fire him. Fire him right now." And like the guy's like, "I can't do it. I can't do it." And Gordon Ramsay's like, "Do you want me to do it?" And he's like, "Uh-huh." And then so Gordon Ramsay goes in there and he fires the brother-in-law, and the sister's crying and the mom's having a panic attack, and the brother's like, "F everybody." And he starts throwing pots and pans, and then he leaves. And every episode, it's essentially the same. It's the same thing. He asks them, "Are you running a charity here?"
Right.
Like, are you employing this guy to be your chef? Is your calling in life to employ this guy as being a chef? Or is your purpose with this restaurant to make money, to feed your children? And I think about that because we've had to fire people.
Yeah, and it sucks.
And I feel that exact same feeling. The only difference is we kind of are running a charity
Right.
here.
This is what I'm saying. It's confusing
It's
to us.
why it's confusing in ministry because
people can feel like, well, don't you care about them? And like, you're the shepherd, they're the sheep. Yeah, but they're not our sheep anymore. That's the part that is so hard. It's so, yes, we're running a charity, but go. Sorry,
No, it's hard because like you love people, you believe in people, but then at the end of the day, what are you trying to accomplish? So I remember, I got to be careful with stories. You might have a better one, but we had a guy who was on our staff, and this guy would not send an email. He would not communicate. We were getting ready to do a missions trip, And this guy, I said, okay, you've got to email. At this point,
No,
I'm now.
I was going to say, let's be clear. It had gone through multiple iterations of like, hey man, that if somebody is meeting with you one-on-one, that barely ever happens anymore, because now you have recognized that you are not $300 and you have no ability to do that consistently for a disciplinary reason, not for a mentoring reason. But yeah, at this point, it had gotten so bad and we were so at the end of our rope that you were like, okay, I'm going to meet with him for the next 6 weeks, once a week.
Yeah.
And all you asked him to do is send the email.
So I'm now micromanaging this guy who's just running a department.
One department.
And I'm spending all this time about one area of his department that he needs to send an email to a group of people.
A specific group for a specific thing.
For 4 weeks. First, I help him write the email. Here's what it needs to say, bullet point, bullet point. Are you writing it down? Are you writing it down? Yes, I wrote it down. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to go to your office and I want you to type out this email and I want you to send it. Now let's build the list of people you're sending it to. Send the list. A week goes by. How'd the email go? Do you send the email out? No, I didn't send the email out. Well, how come? Well, I needed to get my wife to proofread it. Okay. Well, why didn't you send it to this person? Why didn't you send it to Whitney to proofread it? What? Okay. So we all go over again. 4 weeks go by.
It sounds absurd, but it's true.
And the guy doesn't send the email. Now, I fired this cat. But after I fired him, do you know what happened? People got mad at me about it. They got mad that I fired this guy because he's a good guy and he loves God and I'm supposed to be a Jesus person. But let me ask you a question. My job as pastor is to oversee the finances of the church. And is it financially good stewardship for me to continue to pay a full-time salary employee that is unable to take direction to send an email?
Right.
Plus 50 other things. Like Whitney said, this is now the straw that broke the camel's back. It's not. I can't just run a charity of pay people who want to be on staff at a church, but are unwilling to actually lead people. Mm-hmm. And so what I had to do is I had to pull the hatchet out and I had to cut the thing. And a bunch of people got upset. And then when I would talk to them, they couldn't comprehend that how this is a job.
Correct.
But this is a job. And so I'd say, have you ever went to work and worked with somebody and had an employee that you wish your boss would have fired and was like, yes, that person will work. Well, why did your boss not fire them? Well, they're scared or this or that. Exactly.
All right.
And so sometimes things have to be cut off. Well, guess what? If that's true for a pastor to an employee, that's also true from a friend to a friend.
Yeah.
Or from a sister to a sister. Like maybe that family member is the one that's pulling you backwards and you have to say, no, I'm leveling my life into a $1,200 body shop. Mm-hmm. I can't keep having these $300 conversations with you. You're stealing my joy. You're stealing my life.
It's really good. No, I mean, even we were talking about the election season, like there's certain types of people and situations and conversations that, I'm not going to change their mind. There's no point in having this, but we keep looping back around, going back. You just said the $300 conversation is such a good, no, we've all had friends. We've all had people that we find ourselves back in the exact same loop, the exact same conversation, the exact same situation. And it doesn't mean cut them out. It doesn't mean you cannot have a relationship with your sister ever. No, you get to see her Christmas. But you put up a boundary and an understanding that, hey, in this area, we're just not going to talk about it anymore. We're just not going to go there anymore. I'm not going to depend on you for that anymore. Whatever the right illustration scenario is in the situation. But I recently talked to someone who's gone through a lot of life change in our church, and she was talking to me and she said, I have this specific temptation that is connected to my family, to this certain time of year, this certain situation, this certain place. And I had to tell my family, I'm not going there this year. I'm not going to show up for it. I'm not going to be there. I love you. I love my family, but I will not be at this event. And they were ticked at her, super ticked. But she said, you know what? The event went by, it passed. I didn't go. The world didn't end. Yeah. And she's like, and I'm at peace. Yeah. And I know that had I gone to it, had I allowed myself to go there, I would have probably fallen back into that temptation. I probably would, and now I'd be beating myself up, and now I'd be full of shame again. All these pieces that, it hurts to have the firing someone hurts for a few minutes, but in the end, it's a lot better. The reality's a lot better. It hurts to tell your family I'm not coming to this event. But in the end, the outcome for you is that you step into more. And like, we have to be willing to know that our more is worth chasing.
Yeah.
It's worth reaching to, than rather go back to these places that have been holding us back. It's hard, but it's so important. And you and I see it all the time. And the only people who get the breakthrough to keep going is when you're willing to do that hard thing, when you're willing to let them walk away, or sometimes you have to walk away.
Do you think that sometimes people have a hard time with that because they're afraid to just be lonely on the other side?
Yes, 100%.
There's a guy in the church right now.
100%.
Right now. Who's dating a girl that he shouldn't be dating.
Right.
But he just doesn't want to be alone. You know what's going to happen? He's going to be with her for another 2 years and then they're going to get married. And I've seen it. I've been in it long enough to know that, like, it's not going to go well.
And he's a $1,200 guy. Potential of a $1,200
but he's still dating a $300
girl. Dating a $300. And so guess what's going to happen? The next 5 years, his life is going to be a $300, $200, $100 life.
Well, and at some point, she's just going to leave him because she's going to see some guy that's worth $400.
Right. God.
What is it? Is it lonely? Is
It's
it people are lonely or they're
it's
afraid?
Just fear. Think about in that season with that person you had. You had me and him. That's all you had. And if you didn't go to his house, was there not a fear in you that then you would have no other?
The first story.
The first story.
The ceiling fan guy.
Silly fan guy. Was there not a fear in you
Yes.
that if you didn't keep going back to them and go? And I remember when he got mad and left over something silly. The fear was there will never be another him. The fear was I've invested in this guy. I've given so much time and energy. He gets me. We get each other. But what if there's no one else that comes along to lead this area?
Yeah.
And you and I've had to learn in the last few seasons that a lot of times those people that we let walk away, they open up the space for the right person to come, for the right people to walk in. And like, whether it's leadership, whether it's dating, whether it's friendship, if you're continuing to keep those people that are not where you want to be going in the space, they take up the space that the new people that should be coming could take. And we used to say it, but we didn't believe it, that every time one would leave, God would send 3 greater people in their place.
Yeah.
And we didn't believe it for a long time.
Yeah.
But we would say it to try to get ourselves to believe it.
Yeah.
But now
it's more than true.
It's more than true. And it's just that they have not yet had the ability or maybe the time or the experience to see that it's actually true.
And the loneliness might happen for a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
or a void. A void might be there.
There might be a void
moment.
for 6 months.
Yeah.
But if you'll be intentional to fill that void, God's going to send the new employees, the new friends, the new community into your life. You just have to like be willing to let it walk away.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked about this with our staff.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of other thoughts
perspectives. No, I mean, you're like, go. No, it's so good. I mean, the one was that those people, we can't allow them to play on our emotions and to make us feel like we're only worth the 300. For you, you're a great negotiator. Like, it's one of your top talents of life.
Yeah.
And you could have probably 2 years ago easily got Javier not from 300 but to 200, right?
Yeah.
But if he didn't make a decision at a certain point that I don't care what this guy says, that even though I like him, even though he's awesome, I have to know who I am.
Yeah.
He could have gotten insecure and started being a $250 guy.
Yeah.
And if we're not willing to let go and let those people walk away, we not only will stay the same, we'll probably fall back into it. That was one perspective they had of just like the insecurity of not knowing who we are and letting people call you something that you're not, letting people keep you at the place where you are. I don't know. There's a bunch of them.
I think that's good. Like, okay, let's just make a for instance.
Okay.
Give me a department. Who should we use? Should I use Easton? I can use Tim.
Yeah.
Use Easton?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Easton is over our Sunday production.
Creative stuff, yeah.
So at some point when we sell the land, the gap has been bridged.
Right.
We need to do a lighting upgrade in our auditorium.
Yes.
The cameras that we use, we bought while we were at the Matlock building.
A long time ago, yeah.
So like there's some tech needed upgrades that need to happen for our ministry.
Absolutely.
The minute Easton upgrades a lighting system, a lighting board, new cameras, Do you know what that's going to mean? Is that it's going to mean that his team that he leads of people is going to have to take a step up.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because it's no longer just like, well, if the lighting cue, like right now our lighting cues are on and off.
Well, right.
But there's not a ton of stuff in it. And so that new stuff means that Easton's going to have to lead that team in a stronger way
right.
to get better shots and more calls because lighting is going to be different. And there could be people on the team that they say this. They say, man, I like it when it was easier. I like it when I could just show up and it was just on or off or fade up, fade down. And now it's so complicated. Easton's going to have to make a decision to say, hey, man, thank you for your time of service.
Yeah.
But you've either got to grow or you've got to go.
Right.
The people on his team are either going to grow to the occasion to be able to manage the new technology, or there's going to be a shift that has to take place. That doesn't mean that Easton's a jerk. That doesn't mean that he doesn't love people. It means that, like, this is where we're going.
And you have an option to go with me.
Right.
And a key piece in that is the communication of it.
Yeah.
If Javier just never called you back, that would be frustrating and rude and confusing.
Right.
But the fact is,
he set a standard.
You really don't have a right, to be mad at him when he communicates.
Yeah.
And you just decide that's not for me. And so, like, people get mad at us and we get all like, oh man, did I screw it up? No, if you set a standard and they're mad at you, that's just kind of on them. And you have to be okay with the fact that their anger is not your fault. Yeah. It's on them.
Back at our Malak building, when we were doing 4 services, we started, we bought barriers. What are they called? The little like seatbelt looking Tensa barriers.
Oh, yeah.
And they would block off
certain
like the back
seats,
4 rows. They block off the back 4 rows. And because we were trying to get people to fill from the front. Maybe it was right before we went to 4. We were doing 3 and we had to like really utilize every seat.
Yeah.
Whenever, I don't know. And there was these 3 ladies. Well, it was 2 ladies and then 1 guy, and we both called him the guy's grandma. Do you remember this?
Yes.
We'd say it was so-and-so's grandma.
Yes.
Neither of them were his grandma, but
No.
I don't really understand the whole relationship. These ladies would come in early.
Yeah.
Move the barrier and sit their stuff on the very back row.
Yeah.
We're trying to build the usher team. We're trying to get them going. And these ladies sitting on the back row would cause chaos because now a bunch of other people want to sit on the back row. And we finally had to put our foot down, and they got mad. And they would get there, and they would sit on the last row behind the barrier. And then once the ushers would open the barrier,
run back there.
They would get back there and sit on the back row. And you know what? They're not here anymore.
Right.
And, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we had to make a decision with the usher team that I had to support them. Oh, we said something from the stage about it. Why we were doing this.
Because we needed to make more space because we had so many people coming that if we didn't manage the space properly, we would not have been able. And I think that, like, people...
But what those ladies wanted was forever to have their seat and their row. They wanted to 3 ladies take up 8 seats because they got a purse and a sweater and each of them have a cup and they're spread out all over the place. And then, like, there's a point that it's like, we're not going to keep catering to your selfishness.
Right. No, and you are not helping fix the problem.
Right.
You are now at a level of, you've been here this long, you've been apart, you should know the vision, you should be willing.
Yeah.
If you're going to help fix the problem but contribute to the problem, then we just have to address that, hey, you're the problem. Like, you're part of the problem.
I remember that same season, we had a lady... Same exact season. We had a lady who had like neck surgery or something. But she wanted to keep coming to church.
Yeah.
And so she met with, I think, me and Enrique, and she had this special chair that her husband would bring in and put it in a classroom.
Yeah.
And she, remember this?
Yeah.
She was like, I don't even need to be in the auditorium. I can't sit in these chairs because I just had the surgery. And so it's only gonna be for 6 weeks. So can I bring this special chair and sit it in the classroom so I can still I'll stand during worship and then I'll go. And as I'm arguing with these 3 ladies that are healthy about getting their seat, this other lady who had massive surgery is asking if she could sit in the classroom to still worship. I'm like, this is the difference in heart of people. And so it was like, no, yes.
Right. For our staff, they had a lot of other perspectives. One talked about how, for Javier, the reason he got to that $1,200 level is because he started at $300 jobs.
Right.
If he had just came to you 5 years ago when you went to him for the first time,
I'd have bailed
and said $1,200 for, you'd have been like, what?
Yeah.
But because you knew him at 300 and you've seen his work grow, you kind of couldn't argue with him.
Yeah.
When he was like, it's cost $1,200.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's people in our life, though, the flip of it is that they want to be $1,200 job leaders, but they've never been willing to put in the work even at the $300 level.
Yeah.
And it was such a good perspective of like, shoot, we also can't think about it. Our culture, you're talking about the heart. We used to want to bring $1,200 leaders into places and spaces without ever asking them to see if they could even do a 300. This lady whose neck is hurt and broken, she's like, I'll just do the $300 job. Just give it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That we have to be able to, we have, as the other leaders, have to identify, have they even put in their work to be worth $1,200 yet?
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Do we trust them?
Do we trust? Well, because that's the only way you can trust them is if I've seen them do the $300. You and I, right now, if we walked out in the hall and there was trash on the floor, I would pick it up and you would pick it up.
Right.
We'd probably fight each other to see who would.
Yeah.
We are always going to be people who are willing to do $300 jobs. But now God's put us in a place because we once did them. Some people come in and think they deserve a spot rather than working their way up. I don't know. Now I'm like, oh God, I don't know. I can't do it.
When I was in youth ministry, before I ever got a paycheck, I was in Bible college student. I started volunteering at this church, and I'm just volunteering. I'm just there serving, helping, running a life group, helping with events, doing these different things. And I remember there was like this season where there were all these young guys, they started putting on the mic on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
They would just throw us on the mic, see who can talk,
right?
Who can do a mic slot in a youth service.
With no training, just try
just
it.
Throw them up there. And,
Lord of the Flies.
And like, I remember quickly starting to get those opportunities. And people would get mad at me. My peers would get mad that I would have these opportunities. And why is he trusted and allowed to preach? Why is he going and doing this? But what they didn't know is that I was up at the church volunteering, setting up chairs. They didn't know that I was up there when there was a kids event, serving at the kids event, not paid. They didn't understand that I was over at the pastor's house when a tree fell, helping him clean it up. Like they didn't understand that I was doing all of these other pieces, not to work my way up a ladder, because I was hungry to be around the environment. I wanted to be around godly people. I wanted to learn what ministry looked like. So I just said yes all over the place. But I think that a lot of times in our world now, and maybe it's because of cell phones or influencer culture or everybody wants to be famous. There's this like, no, give me the famous thing first. Yeah. And it's like, dude, I'm not putting you on a microphone until I know who the junk you are.
I don't even know your heart. Yeah, I don't even know who you are.
I can't tell you how often people come and they meet me and they tell me in the lobby that God brought them here and they want to start a discipleship class. Or God told them that they need to speak at the next men's conference. And I'm like, dude, you haven't served one Sunday. I don't know you. None of my people know you. You're never getting a microphone. And it's not because the microphone isn't ministry. Right. And so I think that the idea is that like, it's easy for people to come in and want status. Yeah. But if your heart is status and not service, then there's got to be a separation. Whoa. Like we let Brady preach. I let Brady preach on a Sunday morning. Right. Not because she's a gifted communicator. She is a gifted communicator. Right. But the reason that we let her preach is because she's been here serving. I let Enrique preach. Right. Enrique is not a trained pastor or theologian or communicator, but his heart has been here serving and leading. Right. And when he got up, the people you could hear a pin drop because they were listening to what he had to say because
they trusted him.
And they already respected him.
And respected
the house already
every word
respected
he said.
him.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a there's a question that we have to ask is like, what is this person's motivation?
Yeah, in the misconception of people's assumptions of like, if you assume, oh, they're just there for, oh, we talked about pedigree. Oh, that was so good.
Oh, yeah.
If we just assume, oh, people are in places because of their pedigree, nope, that's not how, at least that's not how we roll.
Right.
Because we've learned that is not helpful. That is not going to do any good for the ministry and the culture that God's asked us to build. But rather putting people in because of their heart and what they're willing to serve and bring to the table.
Whereas the opposite is if Jason and Stephanie
Yes.
came to us and said, hey, Pastor, we want to start this new ministry.
Yeah.
I would say yes to just about, now, Jason, I know how you are, so don't. But I would say yes to just about anything that they felt the Lord wanted them to do that was in alignment with our vision.
Yep.
Because they have so well already been faithful.
3, 4, 5, $600 jobs. Right. They've already proven themselves step again.
They've already been faithful. And so it's like, of course, you can go and do that other thing that you want to do.
But then also on the flip of that is our responsibility as leaders is to as people start leveling up is to help them release some of those $300 jobs. If Javier was smart, something you and I talked about in there, if Javier was smart, he would get a bunch of proteges under him to do those three. Hey, Pastor Justin, I know you, I love you.
Yeah.
I can't do this, but this guy can. I've been training him up. And we have to, as we are leveling up, then give things away that are the 3, the 4. That was that mentor's point to us. Is that you guys are still doing $10 things that you need, or $10,000, whatever, 10 million. I don't remember the scale, but like, he's like, y'all are doing $10 things when you need to be doing $10,000 things. And I can't do both. We can only hold so much in our hand.
Yeah. If I was still hanging ceiling fans for everybody in our church that needed one and still doing weddings for a bunch of random people I've never met before, I would not have time to write the messages that I'm writing. I would not have time to lead our staff. I would not have time to develop our budget. I wouldn't have time to do a podcast. I wouldn't have time to rest and be a good dad. I wouldn't have time. And so what I've had to do is give those things away to now other people are going and doing those things.
Well,
I'm not above them, but
no,
there's other people that are in a season that what their best
they're
guess
ready
is.
to go. Jason is a perfect example. He and Stephanie are leading now our marriage ministry this semester. And he's having to let go. He's been leading the usher team forever. And he's incredible. But he's having to let that go to someone else for 2 reasons. One, he cannot properly manage that many things all at once. No superhuman can. In order to give his best here, he's got to let go of this here. But 2, he sees people on his team that need to now level up. And his ability to give that away to them, that's Jason's win. That's the whole church's win by allowing this person to step into it. And we have to be okay with letting those jobs go, but finding people to give them away too, so that they can level up, so that we're not all on the same level of our journey. We've all been here and serving in different spaces and places and different moments. And as long as we're all going in the same direction, forward motion of growth, give it away. Let them try it.
Give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Yes, it's true.
All right, what else? Is that it?
I don't know. I can't. Anything else you think of?
No. I ate pizza for lunch, so I'm a little sleepy.
It's making you tired?
Yeah, we went to a place up in Fort Worth that has great pizza. You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took our whole staff today, but it was slow.
Yeah.
It took 2 hours. We were there 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We were there a long time. We got to talk and laugh a bunch, but it took a long time.
Well, and we're learning.
So, I ate pizza, so I'm kind of like.
But we're learning in our leadership that that's actually part of what we're supposed to do.
That's part of it.
Part of it is supposed to connect to our team,
be around,
have fun, and be good people.
Have you eaten any Halloween candy?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
But you don't have kids. You don't have kids at your house.
Yeah, I bought candy to give away. And then I went walking with my friends' children, and therefore I have candy at my house that I did not give away. So
I've done really good until yesterday.
And then you ate it?
We gave everybody yesterday off. We took Monday off.
Because
And so Rachel and the kids were going to something they already had planned, and Rachel's like, you do not need to come to this. And so I was like, there's a movie I'd been wanting to watch. So I rent this movie, and I lay down on the couch, and I lay down, and I look over, and then on the floor is Titus's big orange bucket of candy. And I said out loud, oh no. I said it out loud, and then, dude, I ate so many Kit Kats.
Mine is Three Musketeers. It's been mine since like
Really?
high school. Yeah.
I used to get the Three Musketeers and I would eat all the chocolate around the outside and then eat the whole marshmallow.
Nougat or whatever.
In one
Really?
bite.
That's funny. So that's the one I get out of there. But then when when I'm trying to trick myself into thinking it's healthier, then I get a Snickers because that has nuts, which is protein. It's absurd, but that's what I tell myself.
It also has caramel.
Yes, it's absurd. It doesn't make sense. But I
bad.
trick myself and I'm like, yeah, this one's healthier.
There's no redeeming value of Kit Kat bars. I can't trick myself into it.
No redeeming
but they're
value
delicious.
anyway. And do you know what a terrible other thing I did?
No.
So I have this gumball. You bought me this gumball machine a long time ago.
I did,
like
in her office.
Old school, kind. And now all the staff kids, they love to come in and get. I used to have gumballs in there, which was kind of disgusting, but they would get them. So I switched recently to like pre-wrapped candy. Somebody had an Asa. I stole out of Ace's bucket. She had a Now and Later. Do you remember Now and Laters?
Uh-huh.
Oh my word. I ate it. It's so good. I ordered a whole bucket of Now and Laters to put in my gumball machine.
Now and Laters are the square ones that are hard?
Yes. They're
That
probably
if you
going to
bite,
rip
they
out
stick
my
to your teeth?
crowns. Yeah,
Yes.
my teeth. I'm going to go to the dentist. But it was like it unlocked to like, oh, I forgot about these.
Uh-huh.
And so I ordered a whole bucket.
No, I'm a chocolate guy.
No, I usually am too, but there's a couple of those soury sweet things that I'm like,
Guys,
anyway.
if you're eating too much Halloween candy, stop it. Throw it away.
Yeah.
Treat yourself. It's not good for it.
Yeah.
I
But
haven't
if
had
you come by
pizza
my
in a
office,
minute.
I'll give you some free candy.
All right. Her and that weird guy in the creepy van in the parking lot.
So funny. It's this blue sweater. Maybe it makes me a weirdo. I'm just
There it is.
kidding.
All right. Love you guys.
Love y'all.
See ya.